Hello, welcome to episode I don't remember of Creepy Soup. We were so busy
90?
pre-gaming.
89,
80,
90. You're
um
like 90. Shit. We're both terrible.
yeah,
Dang it. I don't feel like
uh
it's a hair.
89.
Ooh, I was close. 89, 90.
Yep,
It was one of the
89.
two.
So I'm sorry about that. We are so um late again, which I did post in the group a little bit ago. Um that we're sorry we're late. You okay?
I just totally screwed up my hair and it looked crazy for a second.
Mine always looks crazy. Um like we explained in the last late section of videos, sometimes life gets in the way of doing this, and sometimes it's not the actual sit down and recording. It's we get on here like yesterday, and I look at Jenny, I'm like, I have a confession. I don't have notes. I got another confession. I still don't have notes, but I know the story that I want to do. It's actually a book, but I'm not doing my notes based on the book because that was years ago and I don't remember shit. Um, so yeah, I,
Gotta love CRS disease.
yeah. And it's not that it's, like I said, it's working, it's, home things and, not really having like the quiet time or things like that. And okay, so normally I would have got this all done over the weekend. Um, but Saturday, uh, my husband was very, very not well. He had pulled a muscle in his back and then he ended up getting sick and pulled it more, made it worse. So it was a lot of throwing up and a lot of moaning and groaning and just like I didn't sit down on Saturday, like actually sit, unless it was driving somewhere in my car. And I love this man. And here's how I know I love him. I went to get him something before I had coffee. I got up, went to the bathroom, ran a brush through my hair, threw on shoes, went out the door, came home, gave him said stuff, and then made my coffee.
That's true love right there.
That is true love when I forego my morning coffee for your shit. And it was cold Saturday. It was fucking cold here Saturday. And then I went out again because I was like, well, I should have stopped and got him something for the vomiting. So then I went back out and got stuff for the vomiting, which thankfully helped because I am a sympathetic puker. And every time I heard him, not that I'm uncaring, because obviously we know I love him because, coffee. Um, but I had to walk away because I can't hear it, I can't see it, I can't smell it.
It's the smell that gets me.
You know what? It's all of it. It's all of it. And I'm not gonna get real gross, but like, nope, I'm just gonna stop right there.
I've gotten good details, so I can laugh with her. It was good.
Yeah, it just not a good day. And then Sunday, it was doing everything Sunday I didn't get to Saturday except for notes. So because I didn't want to leave him alone on Saturday.
Understandable.
So
I get it. I do. And like some of our listeners might think, oh, it's just, man pain, as in like, over exaggerated, like the man flu and all that kind of stuff. But no, knowing him, no, like there might have been a twinge of that, but not to the extent that, you would think like man flu.
yeah,
Um, it was to the point where I believe he was in so much pain that it made him sick.
I that could
So
be because he was trying to say it was ice cream because that's what I threw up. Well, dummy, that's the last thing you consumed.
And here's me, the first thing I said, how do you eat expired ice cream? Like, did it melt? And then,
Right. And
like,
that's what he was like, well, someone left it out and it melted and it got warm and they put it back in the freezer. I'm like, no, nobody did that. Stop it.
and I mean, in the history of ice cream, how many people have left their ice cream sit on the freaking counter and forget about it, for like an hour or so. And then, you get that nice little layer and then you throw it back in the freezer, it freezes back up. And then, once you scoop past it, you're fine.
Yeah. But I think he was trying, I don't know. But yeah, so it wasn't the ice cream that made him sick.
I will say though, as a food safety standpoint, anything left out over 2 hours on a counter that has already been cooked and not refrigerated does need to be tossed.
Mhm.
And I'm off my soapbox.
Yep. And because I worked in like a restaurant that, so I'm that person. If it's been in there 3 days, it goes. Because you're not, if you haven't eaten it in 3 days, you're not fucking eating it. So give it up. It's wasted. And that's fine. Because you're not eating it.
Yep.
So yeah. Some people. But yeah, you know what? It's Wednesday. It's been a fucking week. It's been a
Yeah.
week.
I I was feeling like I ran a marathon before yesterday afternoon. And I still ran a marathon and still have a marathon to run yet. Because when
Yeah.
we get done recording here, then I have to go to the college and sit through my spiel and do my testing and whatnot. And then I'm going to come back here and I have a spring flower look to do for
Oh,
TikTok.
oh, okay. Yeah, bring that shit out. Okay, so yesterday here, and we were talking about this in text before we started. We both experienced all four seasons. Boom, in 24
I
hours.
I drove through them all. I left here in summer. I arrived back in winter because
Yeah,
like it was so nice here when I left. Like I didn't need my coat or anything. Granted, I had my jacket with me and whatnot, but it wasn't cold, like I was
yeah,
very comfortable without it. I get home to a freaking whiteout. Like I almost couldn't see the road.
yeah,
It was snowing so hard. And the wind was terrible.
yeah. Okay, I wore capris to work yesterday, short sleeve shirt, took a hoodie with me, never put it on. I did tie it around my waist because my hands were full. Um, And last night we had horrific rain, and the area that I work in, they were hit by tornadoes. And in a little while, the snow was going to start. So,
You're welcome. Glad I could send that to you. I'm not sure who sent it to me, but they can have it back.
right, yeah, they can have it back right up their ass. Because I was like, oh, I know it's false spring because it's fucking February. I know it's false spring,
We all do.
but I had a smidge of hope, just a little bit.
That's all you get. That's all you get. Like 2 days.
And then
Just enough to make you think it's there.
the rug was pulled out from under me, and okay,
Sorry.
you're good.
I didn't expect that.
So, um, I just gotta take something for a headache super, super quick. Um, so I forgot what I was gonna say.
My crack was that good. Let's see if we can get the other side. Oh, nope. Oh, there we
Oh,
go.
oh my God, that was loud. That was that was loud. Oh,
And I actually didn't force it. I went to just put my finger on my chin and it went by itself.
that was.
That first one though, oh, like that made my head spin.
Yeah, I've had that where when your neck cracks, and mine does a lot because my job insists of a lot of movement with my arm and my neck and all that stuff. So yeah, when the neck cracks it's a good crack and you get dizzy from it. And I keep telling myself because we now have chiropractic, we can go to a chiropractor with our insurance, and we couldn't before.
So when's
Well,
your appointment?
I have never been, um, and I am scared.
It'll
Oh,
hurt so good.
okay, I'm scared for a couple reasons. One, I've had back surgery and they filled my disc with the medical cement, so there's no movement. And so I get a lot of pain there. But I've seen videos where people get a good crack and they fart. And I'm not worried about farting. I'm worried about my doctor realizing I'm an immature child because I'm gonna laugh.
And to be fair, they have it happen so often and they learn and like teach themselves not
Yeah.
to respond when deep down you know inside they're laughing their ass off.
See, and that's the thing. Okay, I've said it before. I have the mentality of a 12-year-old boy. Farts are fucking hilarious to me. They're literally laughing gas. Like, unless I'm eating, I will laugh my ass off at a fart. I don't care whose it is. Yeah, they're fun. I'm a child. We've established this. We know.
You gotta catch me on the right day. And it depends on the circumstances. Because in some cases, if you do it, I will yell at you about pink eye. I know multiple people who have gotten it from an instance like that. I mean, not, you know, from like chiropractic standpoint, but yeah, like someone sitting on someone's head and doing it, and then the person who received it got pink eye.
Um, that is something when my kids were little, I would not allow. You are not going to sit on your sibling's head and fart. It's disgust. Okay, farts are funny to a point. You are not farting on my head because I will punch you in your junk before you get up. And you're not going to fart on someone else's head who, one, is unsuspecting. And yeah, it's not happening. Mm-mm. You fart in my
Yeah,
face, you're going to get hit. That's kind of where I draw the line because it's
yeah,
gross. Like, like
yeah.
I've even watched, like, again, I'm a child, so Jackass to me is hilarious. And the one where they fart in the tube.
I've never been a fan of Jackass, and I have no idea what you're talking about.
Well, the one big guy on there, they put a tube up to a tube up to his butthole, and the other guy like kind of has his face, like the bottom half is, and the dude farts. And then a couple seconds later, the other guy pulls away and starts puking. I mean, hey, you put yourself in that position, then you deserve it. But that was a voluntary thing. I'm gonna do this. Um, but no, you're not gonna fart on someone's face. It's disgusting.
Yeah, or wafting it at people. Like, congratulations, you're throwing your poop particles at me.
No, I won't do that. I'm not above crop dusting somebody. I'll just say that.
I've probably done that at work,
Um,
but it's completely unintentional. It's because I'm walking and I'm moving, and
right, the
it's got
bubbles
to
move.
come
Yeah,
out.
I now the one job I was on, and the person, it was the one where I had to go under the hood of a truck to harness some wires, and the person across from me was also, and it's the same dude that did the tattoos. And we were right at like a walkthrough. Like people would walk in front of our jobs, and sometimes it was a pain in the ass because you're in my way. Don't get mad at me that I'm still moving.
Right.
But anyway, we were both under the hood one day, and someone walked past and giggled. And then we smelled it. I'm like, we just got crop dusted. He was like, yep, yep, we did. It's whatever.
That's
Um,
funny.
I think the only thing exciting I've got coming up is I put in my vacation days for um a few different things, and they all got approved. So I'm excited about that.
I'm going to college later. That's all I got.
Been there, done that.
If y'all haven't seen this movie, I highly recommend it. Dale and Tucker versus Evil. And if you watch it, you'll understand my reference. College kids!
Um, when I was going for my accounting degree, and I'd be sitting there doing my homework, and I'd be like, college chicks are so cool. Fuck off. So
In this particular movie, it is two, I don't know how to describe them without insulting people. I'll say this. They wear flannel, have beards, um, drink beer while driving, and buy a cabin in the woods.
lumberjack,
Sure.
alcoholic lumberjack.
PBRs to be exact. But there is a lake on this property that is shared with another location, and some college kids go stay at this area. They do some nighttime fishing. Someone falls in, bumps their head, doesn't remember anything. Um, and the men are then convinced that it is a murder suicide cult pack of college kids, um, because they're killing themselves all over the property,
Who is
in the
that?
most interesting ways.
I'm recording.
Yeah, at one point there's a wood chipper running through the woods, and various other instances where the college kids unintentionally unalive themselves. And it's always in a hilarious way, but yet these men are accused by one of the sheriffs of murdering these people. And they're like, no, it's the college kids. And at numerous points throughout the movie, the guys are like, stop it, college kids. What's up?
It's my daughter. She came in to grab keys.
Ah,
Oh, she's not here. Shh, shh. You're recording. I'm not. She's clearly here.
nope. I
All I
don't
see
care.
are boobs. Stop it.
I was trying to do that in the Ring camera yesterday. Did you see it?
Mm.
I was going like this.
No, I don't watch the camera. I'm at work. I'm working.
You should watch it.
Okay, love you. Bye. Oh, weirdo. Um, sorry, I should have stayed muted for a minute or two. Um, it sounds like an interesting one.
It's hilarious. Absolutely fucking
I love a good hilarious movie. There's one, oh my God.
it's low budget and kind of cheesy,
Those are the
but
one,
hilarious.
right.
It's so worth it.
I gotta, I cannot think of the name of this one that um I really liked. Oh, what the fuck was it called? There was a lot of sorry. A lot of like previews when it came out, and then nobody heard of it. Mm, I'm trying to look for the name of the movie because it was fucking funny. And it's one of the very first movies I ever seen with that Zach Galifianakis. I don't think I'm saying, do you know who I'm talking about?
Do I ever know who you're talking about?
No. Um Out Cold was the name of the movie. It
I
is
think I might have actually seen that.
it's where they're at like these people work for a ski, they're partiers work at a ski resort, and new owners take over and they change everything, and
Damn it.
the one dude, Zach Galifianakis, or however you say his name, he's the dude from The Hangover, the dude with the beard, the chubby dude,
Oh, okay.
the
Yeah.
dipshit. Well, he's in it, and he's sitting in a hot tub and does a thing with the jets and then gets stuck. Like, yeah, it's hilarious. It's hilarious. So, yeah.
Should we get into the
Yes,
episode?
because and thankfully I don't have notes, and so it's going to be fairly short. This is the story of Linda Brown's murder.
Okay.
Um, and this I read the book by Anne Rule. It was called If You Really Loved Me. And then there was like I don't know if it was a Lifetime or like one of the made for TV movies, like on the big three channels when I was younger, but I remember seeing it, and it takes place in 1985, and there's a dad and a daughter, and the dad marries the wife is very young compared to the dad. The daughter was 14, and I want to say the wife was like 21, 22. She was very young. 23. Sorry. So 23. So young, younger than my kids. Like my kids are all over that now. Oh God. Huh. Um, so David and his wife Linda, his I believe his current wife. His current wife. I can't he seemed to be a player, but I don't know how. Like he's one of those. Like um so David and Linda have a daughter named Crystal. So living in David and Linda's house are David, Linda, their daughter Crystal, his daughter from a previous marriage, relationship, whatever, Cinnamon. And I love that name. Her name is Cinnamon Brown. And you know what? Not gonna lie, that's the part of the story that like got me interested. I'm like, that is a cool name, because this was like early 90s when I read the book. It had happened like maybe a few years before that. And Linda's,
To be fair, it could have been way worse.
oh yeah, for sure. Yeah. So it was David, Linda, their daughter Crystal, his daughter Cinnamon, and Linda's sister Patty. And Patty, I think, was younger by a couple years. Um, the younger sister Patty was 17. Um, and she had lived with them since she was 11. So that, yeah. Um, this is a family photo. So there's
Okay.
David, there's the baby, that's Cinnamon, that's Patty, and that's Linda. So, um, so Linda and Cinnamon didn't have the best relationship. Apparently, they argued. Um, and then like I did read that they did have a decent relationship, that things were manipulated. So on the night of March 19th, 1985, Cinnamon goes through the house, goes into the room where her stepmother is sleeping, and shoots her in the abdomen, and then shoots her again. Later that day, I don't know how long later, Linda is found deceased. And when they go look for Cinnamon, she is hiding in a doghouse. She has a suicide note, and that's where things kind of get a little. She confesses to being the one to kill her. But it was really odd because she really didn't have a clear motive. And David claims he wasn't in the house at the time because he was tired of their bickering. Remember that face. Because that face is going to get a lot more as we go. So, she gets arrested, obviously. She has a suicide note. And so there's a trial. She's sentenced to, I believe, 27 years. 27 years to life in prison. So they get in there and she realizes, I'm sitting in here and my dad's the one that convinced me to do this. And then she finds out the dad has collected insurance money. And the dad has now married the wife's younger sister.
I had a feeling that's where that was going.
Yeah. And I don't know if that was the motive behind it, but one of the motives. They were already having an affair. And that's just how they chose to get together, I guess. So, um, so she's in prison now for the murder that he convinced her to do. Convinced her because you're a teenager, you're gonna get little to no jail time. Well, that was a lie. She was sentenced to 27 years or more in prison. So she was like, watch this, motherfucker. And she starts talking. And little by little, the truth comes out that yes, he convinced her to do it because, you're not going to get the time I would if I did it. So she does it. And so I don't know if she was promised some of the money or when the money comes, we're going to help you. But they got the money and forgot about Cinnamon. Which with a name like that, how can you forget? Like that's I don't know. So like I said, he basically kept the illusion like we're a good, happy family. but he was banging the baby sister. Now, at the time of the murder, she was 17. He was 36. So, ew.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it wasn't an overnight thing like you need to do this. You need to do this. It was like over the course of a couple of years, he started manipulating his daughter to,
And he groomed the little sister.
oh, for sure. Um, but he started manipulating her to be against her stepmother. And where eventually it came to what it did,
Mhm.
where he convinced her, like, if you want this to stop, after, he started it, you're gonna have to kill her. And you're 14, so you're not gonna get prison time. Like a little bit of jail, maybe some mental health, but you'll be fine. Um, so he finally says, like, I just didn't have the stomach to commit the murder. So and I know I'm not doing the story justice, and I'm so, so sorry. Um, I promise my next one will be better. I promise. Um, I gotta tell you a story about our last one as soon as I'm done with this. So, um, one of another reason that he had okay, he had convinced Cinnamon and the little sister that Linda was trying to steal his business from him. And then their life would be, as they know it, would be over if she got her greedy little hands on my business. And I think it was a car. I don't know. So again, the 17-year-old sister kind of had her own reasonings for wanting to get rid of her sister because she wanted to marry David. Um, and like she was living with them because very shitty childhood, poverty. Not that poverty equals shitty childhood. That's definitely not what I'm saying, but there was like abuse, alcoholism, not a good situation, which is why she went and lived with her sister and her skeevy husband. Like that's the
I
best.
mean, good on the sister for attempting to help.
Yes. Yes. And I
It's
feel that's such a
unfortunate that it was into another shitty situation, but yeah.
yeah. Um, so but I agree, like, good job to the sister for taking her in and getting her out of that. And, like Patty and Cinnamon were so close in age, they should have been like super close, like sisters, and it really could have been the ideal family. Well, shortly after she moves in with them, David starts sexually abusing her because that's what it is. Um, and because of her upbringing and thinking, now mind you, she moved in with them when she was 11. So keep that in mind that I don't know how old he was at that time. I'm not mathing right now. Um, there's 6 years difference. So he
25.
was 30. So he'd have been 30.
Okay. Okay.
Gross.
Yeah.
Um, and thinking this behavior was normal because of her upbringing. Um, as a lot of young victims do, they think, oh, I'm in love. So it started out as sexual abuse, ended to murder and marriage. And if I'm not mistaken, they had a child. Um So yeah. So the night the night of the murder, Patty and Cinnamon are like woken up like aggressively by David saying it has to be done tonight. Blah blah blah. You got to do it. So then he hands Cinnamon the gun, dips, and she does her thing. And like I said, when the he goes to a store and makes himself like very known to the clerk, so then he has this alibi. Like,
No.
I was definitely not at home. You can go ask this dude because he'll tell you I was not there. I was not there. So again, he leaves, goes to the store, but claims to leave because he was tired of the arguing between the daughter and the wife. Um, and the sister, Patty, is kind of taking care of the baby, like making sure she's safe during this whole thing because they don't want nothing to happen to the baby. Just, the grubby, greedy wife trying to take their good life away. Um, so the first shot didn't kill her. Um, but the second shot was fatal. Again, she was found in the family's doghouse, covered in her own vomit and urine, and clutching a note that reads, quote, "Dear God, please forgive me. I didn't mean to hurt her." She had taken a prescription overdose, and if she had not vomited, she would have died. And wouldn't that have been just hunky dory for David?
Mm-hmm.
Um, and it would have that would have honestly probably been more convenient for David because, like I said, she got in prison, realized they're living the good life and I mean, if you want to go ahead and math this or look up what it would be in today's money, um, but the amount that they got, and this was in 1985, was $842,793. So I mean, even now that's a lot of money. But
Yeah.
I'm gonna assume that's probably at least a mil now.
Oh yeah.
Hang on. You know what? I'm
That's crazy. That's a lot.
okay. Anyway, that didn't work in my favor. So it was a lot of money. Like I said, I'm guessing now that would be an easy $1 million. So they're living
Mhm.
well. And
Oh yeah.
she's in prison, getting more and more bitter. So,
Understandably.
oh, absolutely. Um, so and and it also like investigators were still not convinced that this was all a 14-year-old girl's doing.
Hmm.
So, they move, they buy a new house, um, and he does marry the sister, and they do have a daughter in 1987. Um, and they had married in secret, so nobody knew they were married.
Of course.
And so when the baby was born, she made up a name for the father, someone who didn't exist. So anyway, um, in 1988, so the father has already been remarried a year, already has a year-old child with his child bride. Um, Cinnamon agrees to wear a wire during a prison visit.
Mm.
And he quickly incriminates himself by um acknowledging that he'd mixed Cinnamon's drug cocktail on the night of the murder. Um, because she couldn't tell the truth about that night because he couldn't survive in prison. But guess what? Both David and Patty were arrested a few days later. Of course, David denies everything, but they've got it. They've got him. Once he learned that his visit with Cinnamon had been recorded and they had everything, he quickly confesses, like, because he's a bitch. He's a bitch.
Yeah.
But of course he pits the blame on Cinnamon and his baby bride. So he, while he's being held in jail, he offers a soon-to-be released inmate, Richard Steinhardt, not, but up to $500,000 to murder Patty, the new wife, the baby. Yeah. As well as two members of the district attorney's office, thinking it would delay his trial and give him an advantage. But instead, Steinhardt says, "Fuck you, David," and meets with prosecution and agrees to tape off further conversation with David. Does this man not learn? And so he goes to David and lies and says, "The job is done." And David responds with, "Wonderful, you're a good man." And, just in case we forgot, this is the handsome David Brown, the handsome, handsome man right there. At his trial in 1990, both Cinnamon and Patty testify that David was the mastermind behind Linda's murder. He was sentenced to life without the possibility of parole, and he died in prison in 2014. Patty's case was heard in juvenile court because she cooperated with the prosecution, and she was sentenced to a reformatory. It doesn't say for how long. Cinnamon Brown served 7 years of her sentence, earning a high school diploma and completing an associate's of art degree before being paroled in 1992. During her father's trial, she said that it was her devotion to her father because he raised her, and obviously a very manipulative man. Now, it never says that he sexually abused her, but I wonder.
I would say is likely considering.
And she said, she loved him. "I didn't want to lose my father. Why would he tell me to do something that wasn't all right?" Because, manipulation. So I do know that when she got out, she married, I believe it was a firefighter. And I believe he committed suicide. I don't know how long after. And the last time I looked her up, she's married, she has kids, and she's living a good life. And I do know, and this was years ago, I remember, because you know how like you get into a case and you forget it, and then something reminds you of it, and you like look into shit, like what has changed since then. I remember years ago looking up, and the daughter Crystal, David and Linda's daughter, the one that was the baby, she had a Facebook page dedicated to her mother.
Oh, that's nice.
And I know at one point her and Patty were meeting up or something on those lines. Like there was a meetup of somebody. I really haven't looked into what Patty's doing now, but I do know that Cinnamon seems to be living a pretty good life.
Good for her.
So, and David died in prison. And I mean, I would hope after all that there was an annulment or a divorce or something
Right.
and I really, really hope Patty got the help she needed. After being groomed and manipulated.
Yeah.
Um, and you know, that does happen with a lot of victims. They do get that like Stockholm syndrome attachment to their abusers. Um, and I think in this case, that's what happened.
Hmm.
Because I can't just see an 11, 12-year-old girl being like, damn, you know, because trying to think of who like the big, like, I don't know, to me in 1985, you should have been all goo goo gaga over Ricky Schroeder.
I don't know who that is. I was 2.
He's still an actor today.
Paint the face for me.
I had a huge crush. I did. He was like, I just, no, not wrong.
What can I say? I am exceptionally terrible with names. You would do better reminding me of someone by telling me what they look like and what they've been in. You got to give me their history, their background.
I know for a while he was in NYPD
Okay.
Blue. After Jimmy Smits left, he took over.
He
Um,
looks familiar. I've probably seen him on my mom's TV.
um, but he was like huge as a child actor. He had his TV series, Silver Spoons. You would have been an infant in diapers. Shut up. Um, and it's been a long time, but I'm pretty sure his best friend in the show was oh, what the fuck is his name? The From the Fresh Prince. Carlton? Was that his
Okay.
name?
Yeah.
He was in it as a child, but he was also in 2 movies that when I was a child, I probably should not have been watching them, but he was in them. So I was like, it's gotta be okay, right? Because you know, back then parents didn't give a fuck what you watched. It wasn't like today where, oh my God, he said poop. Um, he was in a movie called The Earthling,
Okay. No bell.
and quick synopsis of that, him and his family are camping in Australia, I believe. And they come across like this crotchety old man and he's dying. He has cancer and he doesn't have long to live and he wants to live out his life there or whatever. It's been years since I've seen this, so this is just memory. So um he's outside collecting, I don't know, maybe firewood for a fire, shit like that. And the parents are in the camper and they're trying to move it. And the dad accidentally goes forward instead of back, and they drive the camper off a cliff. So now this poor kid is crying and alone and all by himself. And he finds the old man and he's hungry. He's a child. He wants food. And this guy's cooking a rabbit and he wants some of it. And the guy's like, get your own. So this little boy goes and gets his own fucking rabbit and yeah. So he gets rabbit. So it's a whole thing. They become close and you know, spoiler alert, the end of the movie, he's burying. And then the other movie
Yeah.
was the Champ. That's a remake and I don't remember much of that one. But his dad's a boxer and the son calls him Champ and he dies after a match and the kid is crying and yeah, both really good movies.
Why are you watching all these movies where kids' parents die and they're left alone when you're a kid?
I don't know. Because I was a full grown adult when my parents died, so that wasn't it. I don't know. They were just You know, I never thought of that. Wow. Maybe I have some issues. I don't know, but it was a good movie. They were both good movies, and I probably watched every episode of Silver Spoons. Um, Actually, I'd like to find that on, I mean, I have a gazillion streaming services, and it's probably on the one I don't have.
Probably. That's how it always is.
Yeah, but yeah, that he was my crush. So that's who Patty should have been focusing on, was Rick Schroeder, and not that. So
Fair.
that's what I have. Sorry, it was not great. I promise.
It was
I got
not terrible.
okay. Well, thank you. It's a good story. I do recommend, if you want like the full story, Anne Rule's book, If You Really Loved Me. Excellent book. Excellent book.
I forget, did you say there was a movie of this?
Yes, I think the movie is called Love, Lies, and Betrayal. Me. Yes, I think it is called um poop.
You said poop.
I said poop. Yep, Love, Lies, and Murder. Sorry.
Oh, okay.
And I believe it was a
Yeah, that
mini
makes
series.
sense.
I think it was a mini series.
Okay.
Let me let me look that up. Um, I remember watching it, but I don't remember much of it at that.
Gotcha.
And that did come out in 1991. So just prior to her release from prison. Um, yes, it was a two-part movie. So really good.
Okay.
So that's what
Interesting.
I have for you today. So I don't know if you can find the movie anywhere. Um, but If You Really Loved Me was the book. Um, so yeah,
And if you find either of them, let us know where you found them in the comments below.
yeah, that'd be great. If you're on YouTube, like and subscribe. Um, if you're on any of the other platforms, like, follow. I don't know how that goes. Share.
Like, share, follow, comment,
Yeah.
hit all the buttons.
I know we should boost that more often, but we
We
don't.
should.
Well, I think usually, well, even now, like we're running a little over, but I'm already ready for work. I just gotta throw on shoes. Um,
I gotta change my shirt and throw on my shoes.
I'm probably gonna have to grab my winter coat, my winter hat. So,
I'll grab my jacket.
so yeah, that's what we got. So hopefully this, I will be releasing this tomorrow, and hopefully we do have one to release on Sunday. Um, we'll talk. So I hope everyone is having a good week and has a good week. And again, we really apologize for the lateness.
See you next time. Bye.
Bye.